Hey everybody, it's Lisa Purdy, and we are continuing our journey in Genesis. I'm in the Amplified version of the Bible, and I'm on chapter 18. So now the Lord appeared to Abraham by the oaks or terebinths of Mamre, as he sat at the door of his tent in the heat of the day. He lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men stood at a little distance from him. He ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed himself to the ground, and said, "My Lord, if now I have found favor in your sight, do not pass by your servant, I beg you." So this is interesting. I'm going to pause here for a second. He knew who they were, and he knew that he needed to honor them quickly. It's kind of interesting. Let a little water be brought, and you may wash your feet, and recline and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will bring a morsel, some mouthful of bread to refresh and sustain your hearts before you go on further. For that is why you have come to your servant. And they replied, "Do as you have said." So Abraham hastened into the tent to Sarah and said, "Quickly get ready 3 measures of fine meal, knead it and bake cakes." And Abraham ran to the herd and brought a calf, tender and good, and gave it to the young man to butcher. Then he, Abraham, hastened to prepare it. And he took curds and milk and the calf, which he had made ready, and set it before the men. And he stood by them under the tree while they ate. And they said to him, Where is Sarah your wife?" And he said, "She is here in the tent." The Lord said, "I will surely return to you when the season comes round, and behold, Sarah your wife will have a son." And Sarah was listening and heard it at the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, well advanced in years. It had ceased to be with Sarah as with young women. She was past the age of childbearing. Therefore Sarah laughed to herself, saying, "After I have become aged, shall I have pleasure and delight, my Lord husband, being old also?" And the Lord asked Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I really bear a child when I am so old? Is anything too hard or too wonderful for the Lord? At the appointed time, when the season for her to deliver comes around, I will return to you, and Sarah shall have born a son." Then Sarah denied it, saying, "I did not laugh," for she was afraid. And he said, "No, but you did laugh." Just real quick about that, David's wife also laughs later in the Bible, and there's different outcomes with this. But I can imagine with Sarah, I've laughed nervously before finding out information. I can also imagine, when you don't believe something, I have had the similar reaction. So I can understand why she did that, and I can also understand why she would deny it quickly, even though that's not the right thing to do. The men rose up from there and faced towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord said, "Shall I hide from Abraham, my friend and servant, what I am going to do? Since Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed through him, and shall bless themselves by him. For I have known, chosen, and acknowledged him as my own, so that he may teach and command his children and the sons of his house and after him to keep the way of the Lord, and to do what is just and righteous, so that the Lord may bring Abraham what he has promised him." And the Lord said, "Because the shriek of the sins of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and their sin is exceedingly grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether as it is the cry of it which has come to me, and if not, I will know." Now the 2 men turned from there and went toward Sodom, but Abraham still stood before the Lord. And Abraham came close and said, "Will you destroy the righteous, those upright and in right standing with God, together with the wicked? Suppose there are in the city 50 righteous. Will you destroy the place and not spare it for the sake of the 50 righteous in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous fare as do the wicked. Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth execute judgment and do righteously?" And the Lord said, "If I find in the city of Sodom 50 righteous, upright, and in right standing with God, I will spare the whole place for their sake." Abraham answered, "Behold now, I who am but dust and ashes have taken upon myself to speak to the Lord. If 5 of 50 righteous should be lacking, will you destroy the whole city for the lack of 5? He said, if I find 45, I will not destroy it. And Abraham spoke to him yet again and said, suppose only 40 shall be found there. And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake. Then Abraham said to him, oh, let not the Lord be angry, I will speak again. Supposedly only 30 shall be found there. And he answered, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And Abraham said, behold now, I have taken upon myself to speak again to the Lord. Suppose only 20 shall be found there. And the Lord replied, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. And he said, O Lord, oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak again only this once. Suppose 10 righteous people shall be found there. And the Lord said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. And the Lord went his way when he had finished speaking with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. So there's going to be more coming with this. But if you will see, Abraham has a relationship with God enough to know that he can say something to him and say, hey, I don't like your choice. Would you change your mind and protect people based on the number that is there? He started with 50 and he climbs all the way down to 10. It'd be interesting to know if he had kept going to 5 or even 1. Now we do see something that does come out of this in the next chapter. But I think that relationship is very important, that he knew he could speak to the Lord. He knew it was him from the tent, and he ran to him. And he knew that he had favor enough to talk to him and be real with him. We have an even better covenant with God now, and you can talk to the Lord about these things. And I want you to think about that when you present things to him and when you listen to him, because it's interesting that we will see a few times in the Bible where people in relationship with God appear to change God's mind. Now, I don't think anything surprises God, but God does tell the intent or what should happen, and he gives a chance for us to speak into a change or a different direction. I think he likes partnering with us. I've seen that in my own life, and there's more that comes when you partner with him. And that relationship is very important, and you see it over and over and over again in the Bible. So pay attention to those relationships and how they looked for different characters in the Bible, different figures. You'll see that relationship piece is a theme. So I hope this helps you. I hope this gets you in the Bible more, and that you're able to read it and be refreshed from it. Have a great day.